The 2024 Mini Cooper Clubman JCW. This is our first and probably last video on this generation Mini Cooper, and honestly I think this is the only JCW product we've ever covered. That's because 2024 is the last model year for the internal combustion Clubman and assumed to be last year of the internal combustion regular hatchback. Mini Cooper has unveiled their future of all being EV and green, and for better or for worse, this generation of product is coming to an end. It is old though, as these cars were first unveiled in the mid-2010s. This is a fairly old generation of vehicle. Now from an interior perspective, obviously we've never covered this vehicle. Let's start with usability. This being a Clubman means it's not a hatch in the rear. It's got dual opening tailgates, kind of like a hearse. It is an interesting or quirky way to open up the rear hatch. With the rear seats up, you're looking at about 17.5 or 6 cubic feet of cargo capacity, which is in line with something like a GR Corolla. It's smaller than, however, like a Civic hatchback. With the rear seats down, you're looking almost 50 cubic feet of cargo capacity. Full-size adults will fit in the back relatively comfortable if the driver is below 6 feet tall. No one can fit behind me, but the passengers probably 5'10" or shorter, no issues. Rear seats will fit a car seat, no problems. And again, there's a good attention to detail in overall cargo capacity. Rear doors have door pockets, front door pockets will fit a full-size Nalgene bottle. Good interior storage throughout, good visibility as well. There's lots of glass in this vehicle, including 2 moonroofs. From an interior technology perspective, this is a mix of old and new, and all of the switchgear and interior electronics, it's largely BMW, which is a good thing. This is running basically an older version of iDrive, which works quite well. Apple CarPlay works seamlessly. This vehicle, as tested, is fully loaded, which means it's over $50,000. You can get a JCW starting around $42,000 before destination. The Harman Kardon in this car, which is optional, is reasonable. It's definitely sort of an interesting car. This is definitely a more premium compact vehicle. It competes with things like the Audi S3, maybe even Golf R. It's a weird class of car as it's a hatchback priced at a higher price point, and it's for someone who likes the German engineering with the British quirkiness. I will say from an exterior perspective, while this has grown in size, obviously, Mini Coopers of old, it does have that quirky style, and there's some excellent color options, and it's this whimsical vehicle. So let's head in the shop and put this thing up in the air. In the shop with the Mini Cooper Clubman JCW. This is the R54 generation, and we're about to say goodbye, as 2024 is the last model year. Obviously, Mini, much like the rest of BMW, is sort of in this transitionary period, and this generation Clubman has been around for a long, long time. This thing weighs about 3,600 pounds. It's on the UKL2 architecture. It's the modular platform from BMW that fits their front-wheel drive-based vehicles. And honestly, despite the badge and where it's built, which is England, this is a BMW through and through, and this is why honestly, this vehicle is as good as it is. It's strut front, it's a multi-link rear, it has their all-4 all-wheel drive setup, which is a clutch-based front-wheel drive, biased all-wheel drive setup. So once it detects slip, it sends up to 50% of the available torque to the rear. It does not torque vector. However, you do have a mechanical limited slip differential in the front, which helps put the power down. When it comes to the drivetrain, this is powered by the B48 inline 4-cylinder. It's a 2-liter, it's a single turbo. It makes over 300 horsepower, making this the most powerful Mini Cooper, and it makes more than like 320 or 330 foot-pounds of torque, which helps this fairly heavy Mini Cooper, 3,600 pounds, get to 0 to 60 in under 5 seconds. You're like 4.9. I've seen as low as like 4.6 on the forums. It is shockingly quick. This uses an Aisin 8-speed automatic. Depending on who you ask, it's sort of the weak point of this car. I don't think it's that bad given what this vehicle is trying to attempt to do, which is be this whimsical, all-wheel drive, hot hatch thing. It's more in line with, say, a Golf R than, say, a GR Corolla. It's more refined. It's trying to be more luxurious. Obviously, the price point reflects that. This thing, fully loaded, can be north of $50,000. When it comes to the gearbox as well, the one fun thing is it does, as much like the ZF8 speeds and other German automatic gearboxes, it gives you that bump shift when you're like full throttle and in sport mode. You combine that with the valved exhaust, it's pretty entertaining. It burbles and cracks and farts and all the things that you're hoping for in sort of this whimsy 4-wheel drive, 4-door hatch. So with that, let's go take this for a quick drive. Chris, you're filling in for Mark because he's doing an Eat, Pray, Love, Sell adventure through Derry, Indiana. My deepest condolences to him. We're in sport mode, which means go-kart mode in the words of Mini. Everything's off. I'm going to show you what B48 feels like. It's one short of greatness. So like a lot of modern automatics, when you launch this thing, it gives you nice little headbutts on upshifts. This is a on-demand all-wheel drive system, Chris, which means it doesn't torque vector in the back, which, you know, in a performance sense, it helps eliminate some of the wheel spin, but this thing does predominantly understeer at the limit, as you experienced on cold tires earlier. Transmission-wise, this Aisin is, to your point, best left and just full auto. Let it do its own thing. The shifts in manual mode aren't that crisp or that fast, but when it lets it do little headbutts, it's great. But if you are in manual, it will ride rev limiter. Body control, pretty good. I mean, it's a big, heavy car. I have no idea how Mini got something this size to weigh 3,600 pounds, and you feel it in the brakes. Mini Cooper brakes. Yeah, yeah, there we go. All right, enough of me. What do you think?
I think this is definitely better as a street car. I don't think it should go really anywhere near a track for the most part. But as a street car, it's actually really, really good. Like, you put it into like eco or normal, and it's quiet. It's comfortable in stop and go traffic. It's fine. Yeah, the manual mode doesn't work like super great, but like, you know, if you're gonna put it on a back road and just leave it in auto, it's probably best suited for that. It's got a special engine. Yeah, just like, yeah.
I think what this car does well is it's a weird blend of BMW proficiency. Like, you have the B48, which is, you know, a 2-liter luxury car engine making 300 horsepower stuffed into something relatively small with an aggressive tune. Yeah, the fake engine noise isn't great, but it burbles and cracks out of the back. You know, it's got the aggressive upshifts that you're looking for with pretty good, you know, damping. It rides like a smaller car, but it's not harsh. There's a general sense of solidity to the vehicle while it goes over bumps. And you have a really conservative all-wheel drive system, plus all the whimsiness that you want out of a Mini Cooper. It really does feel remarkably nimble. Does it have the best handling characteristics of any small car? No. But it's fun, and I think there aren't many upmarket, small, fun, all-wheel drive automatic cars that exist. Really, there's nothing in this class, to be honest. I mean, what else is there other than like a Golf R, which is really serious?
I mean, that's pretty much the only thing. I mean, it also has a special 4-cylinder with the EA 888. It's got a double clutch, which is better if you're, you know, actually...
Or a manual.
Yeah, or a manual.
And a superior all-wheel drive system.
That too. But it doesn't... There's like this unspoken sort of quality to this that just is a little bit just more fun if you're going to just leave it in automatic and do its own thing.
Yeah, I think you and I have driven so many cars, and you've been doing this with Mark and I behind the scenes for years at this point. And we've driven pretty much everything in this class. The one car you haven't driven, but I've driven is an S3, but you've driven an RS3, the Golf R, the GR Corolla. I mean, that's really it. Those are your all-wheel drive options in this sort of class, starting at $42,000. Obviously, this is $50,000, and once you get this thing fully loaded, it's not the best value proposition. But yeah, it's this weird niche upon niche car for someone who wants the British fun with a German, you know, competence and a sense of character and soul. I think, you know, the world is a worse place now that Mini is no longer making internal combustion JCW fun cars. They're all about to be EVs. I can't fault anyone, and you and I both talked about it. If somebody bought this, you're not going to be like, you're stupid. You're like, oh, I get it.
Like, oh,
want
cool.
A fun car, yeah. It is remarkably entertaining for what it is. And you said it does benefit your people, correct?
Yeah, the short kings of the world. This fits that better than, like, yeah, you fit fine. Yeah, you fit fine in like a Golf, but this, again, everything's within reach, and it's just a nicer space, you know, for the
vertically challenged among us.
For the vertically efficient.
All right. Yeah. So with that, let's head in the final thoughts, sir. Final thoughts on the JCW Clubman. So what do you need to know? Well, this is a really unique car. There's a level of whimsy and competence that is not really found in this class of vehicle. It has a much better sense of humor about itself than, say, something like a Golf R or Audi S3. And it's still a BMW underneath, which means it still drives really great. It really is a good driving car. And other than the price and the fact that it only comes as an automatic, I can't really fault anyone for buying one. It is a unique feeling car that has a certain character to it that you don't really find anymore. And I think that's what you're going to really take away from this generation Mini Cooper altogether. I feel like a lot of people didn't really appreciate these cars, whether it be the regular Mini Cooper, the 4-door, 5-door, the Clubman, or the Countryman, because on paper, it was hard to justify the price and some of the other things about them. However, when you drive them, they do make you smile. And honestly, when you're trying to buy a vehicle today, that's a rare thing these days. Is a FL5 Type R or a Golf R, cars like that technically a better deal? Sure. But if you buy one of these things and you can stomach the as-tested price of $50,000, I do think you'll really enjoy it. So with that, thanks for watching. Hope to see you soon.